A very good morning, Mark. Here it is Wednesday, November the 19th, 7:45 a.m. Eastern, 12:45 p.m. GMT. And let's have a look how the markets are shaping up this morning. US dollar index, starting point, and you can see fourth consecutive day of higher highs, higher low. So on the US dollar index, I've got support at 99.37. I've got resistance at 99.68, comfortably trading above the ascending trend line. EMAs close to crossing to signal an uptrend, not quite, but certainly steady demand for US dollar. And even if the demand not that strong, certainly not being sold off going into the US session. We'll see whether this demand and whether US dollar strength can continue, whether the resistance does get tested, or alternatively, if there's going to be a turnaround from strong US to weak US dollar, sellers will be looking down at this 99.37 support level. Let's have a look at the S&P 500. Still a while, almost an hour and a half until Wall Street opens up and going into the US session. A bounce back in the futures market, support 6,612 and resistance now at 6,664. And that's already getting back and erasing some of the losses we saw yesterday. We'll see whether that can be maintained. Trading below the ascending trend line, long way to go until buyers get above that or get to test the 6,700 or above. We'll see whether this bounce back does continue and the demand for S&P once US session gets underway. Let's have a look at gold. Gold fighting its way back. Same direction as the US dollar, not the traditional inverse relationship between the two. We saw strong US dollar to get started, and we're definitely seeing strong gold as well for the last 2 days. I've got support at 4,050, resistance 4,118, significantly over that 4,100 level. We'll see whether that can be maintained. If there's going to be a turnaround here in gold, probably off these levels here around the 4,120 level where we're sitting now. Buyers have done enough also to signal a crossover on the EMAs. We'll see whether that can be maintained through the US session. Gold on the front foot to get going into the US session. Let's have a look at Brent oil. Strong sell-up in Brent oil today, maintaining within this range between the 63 and 64 to 65. It's been in this tight range since the middle of October, but a big sell-off today, taken out the gains made over the last few days. I've got resistance at 64.34, and I've got support at 62.97, testing that 63 support level. We'll see whether that can carry on or whether buyers do step in and the range continues as we've seen it, and buyers bounce up off this support level and look up at the 64.34. $64 to start would be the goal for buyers if they bounce up off this support level. But definitely a strong sell-off on Brent oil going into the US session. Bitcoin, downtrend very strong on Bitcoin, and attempted fight back yesterday. It didn't really amount to much. Green candlestick, but still lower highs and lower lows. Today went tested lower. You can see that fighting back that little bit, sitting now at 91,500. I've got support matching yesterday's support or today exactly at 90,000. Yesterday tested slightly below 90,000 before buyers stepped in. Buyers did step in again today at that 90,000. We'll see whether that can be maintained. I've got resistance at 92.9. Let's call it 93. If I zoom in on that hourly, There you see the fight back. Buyers stepped in at this 90,000 level. Buyers will be looking up at the 93,000 or higher, a long way to go, unless sellers again re-enter the market and we see a continuation of this strong sell-off and downtrend, and sellers again get down to test that 90,000 level. Good trading, keep that discipline, and I'll see you at end of day's session.